In the Musaf of Reish Chodesh, we say as follows: Mizbeach Chodesh b'tziyayin tachin va'olas Reish Chodesh na'ale olav usiri using nasa b'ratzayin uva'avayas Beis Hamikdash nismach kulanu. Did it ever bother you? It's fakert. The Seder is fakert. It should be b'avayas Beis Hamikdash nismach kulanu. We'll build the Beis Hamikdash, and then Mizbeach Chodesh b'tziyayin tachin, and then olas Reish Chodesh na'ale olav. The Seder is fakert. So they're gewaldig. That the pshat is it's meduyik. That Mizbeach Chodesh b'tziyayin tachin. First you're going to go ahead and build a Mizbeach. And then you're going to be ma'alav karbanos. And then Eliyahu Hanavi is going to come, and Mashiach is going to come, and he's going to build a Beis Hamikdash. V'ameris Beis Hamikdash nismach kulanu. Azay tainid tzvi hirsch. So the binyan tzion from Rav Yaakov Ettlinger, the Mechaber of the Orach L'Ner, binyan tzion, took strong issue with tzvi hirsch kalisher, and brings a number of his tainas and refutes them. And about this taina specifically, that he wants the bayais from his kasha, that the chihilchas ala mashicha, that obviously we must be bringing karbanos this man hazeh, because if not, why does the Mishnah in Edius tell me that Eliyahu is not going to be Mekarv and Merachik? What do I have to know that for, if not to know that I can be Semech on a Kayin? Says Ben said he doesn't know what kind of raya that is. Because the Gemara says in Kiddushin, Rav Yesi says in Kiddushin, Asidin Mamzerim Li Tahar, that Lasid Lavai, the Mamzerim are going to be Tahar. So Taisus and Sanhedrin asks Akasha, the Gemara asks the kasha. And then the Gemara asks the kasha. What do I have to know that for? So, and for Taisvis, you know why I have to know that for? Because maybe I should, unless a woman has a ksav yuchsin, I shouldn't marry her, because maybe I'm marrying a woman that's going to turn out to be a mamzeres. So Zok Taisis, that's why Rabbi Yossi has to come and tell me I see the mamzerim li tahir. So Zok the binyan tzion, that's no raya. What are you telling me? That why do I have to know that Eliyahu is not boing l'chleraki v'l'karev? It must be to tell me that the kohanim are miyuchasin so that I know can be makriv karbanos. No, you see, Tais said a much more pashut thing. I have to know that pashut, that I can marry anybody who has a cheskes kashrus with a surety, because I know that l'masid lavei Eliyahu is not going to come and say this person is a mamzer. So don't bring me any rayas and say that it must be imperative to know that kaihanim are kaihanim, because I have to be able to be makar karbanos. No. That halacha Moshe Sinai, I have to know for much more basic reason. I have to know that Eliyahu is not going to become the Tahir or the Rachek. I have to know that simply to know who I can marry. Then I don't have to worry that a woman is a mamzeres. So Memela, he says, it is no taina, no raya from over there, that we're going to need that to know that who are Kaihanim in order to be Makar Karbanos. V'loyoi. What's that?
What's both the Tahir and the Rachek?
So ain't a bolatar l'rachik. He's not.
The Tahir mamzerim and the Rachek is for Kahanim. So what does Kahanim have to do here with a marry?
If it's maybe l'tayr, his tyra is psulei kal. Is this? I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I don't know. I would have to look that up. What it means. I hear, but I mean that's what he tain is, that you see from Taisus. Taisus gave a much more passionate teretz. She says, moreover, that from the Gemara in Megillah is muchach fakert from her tzvi hirsch, because the Gemara in Megillah says, what is our seder of Shemona Esrei? Why does our seder of Shemona Esrei goes Boni Yushalayim, that a Semach David Avdachom Meir, that's Tzmiach, and it's Shema Kileinu, and then it's Ritzei. So Zot the Gemara in Megillah, there's a seder to this. Zot the Gemara, the Kevin Shenivdes Yushalayim ba David, the Kevin Shabbat David ba Tefillah, the Kevin Shabbat Tefillah ba Avodah. So what do you see from the Gemara? You see from the Gemara Punk Lehepa. According to the tzvi hirsch, first comes Avodah and then comes David. And the Gemara in Megillah says Punk Fakir. First comes David and Yushalayim, then comes Tefillah, and then comes Avodah. So he says, you see that our Seder of Shemona Esrei, which was nischadish by the Anshe Knesset Hakdaila, is based on a fakirta Seder. That it's going to be David and Bin Yerushalayim and Bin Beis Hamikdash, and only after that there's going to be Seder Havayda. So as we mentioned,
isn't that fair enough others though? I mean, if Mashiach is the one to be Bnei Yerushalayim, aren't we doing it for Kid also?
well, that's not called Bin
Even though those-
I mean, that's why we're there. What do you mean by that?
No, we're saying Rashi says B'Eish Yitzata, that everybody Mashiach.
Yeah, well, and the Pshat
so
does.
again, why isn't Bnei Yerushalayim?
Teretz is because you need Ben David there in order for that to happen. In other words, it doesn't mean.
No, wait, doesn't Bnei Yerushalayim means by something?
Well, Mistama means Binyan Beis Hamikdash. Yeah, but it means that you need David there in order for the Rebbeinu Shalom to do it. Lav Dafka that he's going to do it himself. That's a necessary t'nai for him to do it.
Why do you
So-
think
Pardon? We must go. We're not going to finish. So as I mentioned, the tzvi hirsch wrote all these things for Eiger. So Eiger wrote back to tzvi hirsch kalisher and said there's a terrible problem, and that is eich noida makam hamitzbeach asher hutzruchu neviim was ever by sheni gam shekashal ismech al dalat bal shalanu ben nisol mitzumtzamos akan tvar. That das heißt also that even if you'll tell me that you don't need a Beis Hamikdash, but you need a mizbeach, and the mizbeach has to be exactly on its spot. And this the Rambam tells us in Hilchos Beis Habchira that Makam HaMizbeach is mechuven b'yaiser. Why is that? Because it was on the Makam HaMizbeach that Noach was Makriv Karbonais and that Avraham Avinu was eiger Yitzchak al Gavi HaMizbeach. So you need the exact space of the mizbeach. And how are you going to know that? How are you going to know where the mizbeach is? On top of that, Eiger, because it's based on Amis, and Amis is based on Tfachim, and we don't know whether our Tfach is Tfach of Dalet Etzbos Beinonis or Dalet Etzbos Mitzvot. How are you going to ever know Makam Mizbeach? So tzvi hirsch is back and says that's the problem. Because Hagam, in the Bayesheni, they didn't know where the Makam Mizbeach was until they had to come onto a Navi that told them, right over here is the Makam HaMizbeach. But that was in the second Beis Hamikdash. But by us, the Medrash says in Eicha that there's a Kabbalah, that the Kaisel HaMaravi will never be destroyed. So since we know where the Kaisel HaMaravi is, then it's a matter of simple geometry to figure out where the Makam HaMizbeach is. And once you know where if your talk is starting from scratch, you don't know where you're starting, you're not going to be able to determine the Makam HaMizbeach. But once you know the Kaisel HaMaravi, she says based on Masechta Midas and the Rambam in Hilchos Beis Hamikdash, it's not difficult to determine where the Makam HaMizbeach is. So he deflected that taina of Makam HaMizbeach. But there are other tainas. Because Rabbi Eiger, in another tshuva, writes to him, Gam yesh ladun, bebig day kahuna. So I feel it Tim Salaymar, that you can build a mizbeach, and you'll know where it'll be, and tumah tuya b'tzibur, and we'll know who the kohanim is because we'll be semech on their yichus, on their chazaka. But the halacha is that a kohen can't be makar without big day kahuna. Bisman she big day aleim k'tushasan aleim, ein the big day aleim ein k'tushasan aleim. And how are we going to make the big day kuna? What's the whole problem? Zokrub Eiger, because the avnate of the kohen was made from 4 different materials. What?